Most people see Marcus Aurelius and Machiavelli as complete opposites. One talks about peace, virtue, and self-control. The other talks about power, strategy, and survival. One sounds like the kind man, the other sounds like the dangerous man. But here's what most people miss. Both men spent their lives trying to answer the same question. How do you survive a difficult world without losing control of yourself? Marcus Aurelius answered that question from inside the mind. Machiavelli answered it from inside politics and human behavior. One teaches how to stay steady, the other teaches how to stay protected. And when you study both together, you begin to understand something important. Being a good person is not enough. And being powerful is not enough either. You need both inner discipline and outer awareness. The reason these two men still matter hundreds of years later is because human nature has not changed. People still lie. People still chase status. People still betray trust when fear or ambition gets involved. The modern world looks different from ancient Rome or Renaissance Italy, but the psychology is almost identical. You still see it at work, in friendships, in business, in leadership, even inside families. Marcus Aurelius spent years trying to understand how emotions affect judgment. Machiavelli spent years watching how power changes people. One studied the internal world, the other studied the external world, and together they create a complete picture of reality. Before we begin, drop this affirmation in the comments. I am calm, aware, and unshakable. Marcus Aurelius understood something most people learn very late in life. Pain becomes worse when you refuse to accept reality. A lot of people spend months, sometimes years, asking, why did this happen to me? But that question keeps you stuck. It does not change anything. It just holds you in place while life keeps moving. Life does not promise fairness. People lose jobs. Relationships end. Plans fall apart. People let you down. None of this is new. What matters is what you do after it happens. Think about two people facing the same loss. One breaks down, complains constantly and stays angry. The other feels the same pain but slowly regains control, adjusts, and keeps going. Same situation, very different outcome. The difference is not talent or luck, it is mindset. Marcus Aurelius was not preaching from a comfortable place. He was Emperor of Rome. He dealt with wars, betrayal, and ungrateful people in his own family. He was surrounded by pressure every single day, and he still had to make clear decisions and lead a massive empire without falling apart. What kept him grounded was a practice, not a personality trait. He wrote in his private journal, what we now call meditations, reminders to himself not to react immediately, not to let one bad moment define his entire day, and not to treat difficulty like a personal attack from the universe. He believed every hard moment was a chance to either grow or collapse. That framing changes everything. Most people treat pain like an interruption, like the bad thing was not supposed to happen. But Marcus Aurelius saw difficulty as the actual material that builds character. Here is the practical side of this. When something goes wrong, most people's first instinct is to fight the reality of it. They replay the situation. They look for someone to blame. They talk about it to anyone who will listen. And none of that processing actually moves you forward. It just keeps the wound open. At some point, you have to stop fighting what already happened and deal with what is actually in front of you right now. The past does not change. What you do next is the only thing still under your control. He also wrote something that still feels sharp today. The obstacle is the way. The very thing blocking you is the path forward. Not around it, through it. If a business fails, the failure is showing you something. If a relationship ends, it is revealing something real about compatibility or timing. If you lose a job, that loss may be redirecting you somewhere better. That does not mean loss is not painful. It means the pain itself can carry information worth listening to. There is also something he wrote about perspective that is worth sitting with. He reminded himself constantly that most things which feel urgent and devastating right now will matter very little in 10 years. The argument that consumed your whole week will be forgotten. The humiliation that felt career-ending will pass. The opinion of the person who dismissed you will stop mattering. That is not him telling you to minimize your feelings. It is him giving you a longer lens to see through, so the short-term pain does not completely take over your decision-making. He also talked a lot about impermanence, that everything changes, including your current circumstances. The bad stretch you are in right now is temporary. The people causing you problems will move on. The difficulty that feels permanent is almost never actually permanent. Holding that truth does not make pain go away, but it makes the pain feel like something you can get through rather than something you are trapped in forever. Pain does not define you. Your response to it does. The ability to feel something hard without letting it control your choices is one of the most valuable things you can build in yourself. And it is a skill, not a personality trait you either have or do not. You practice it, and you get steadier over time. Machiavelli spent his life watching how people behave when power, fear, or self-interest gets involved. And one thing became very clear. Being a good person does not automatically protect you. A lot of people assume that being honest and loyal earns the same back. Sometimes it does. But when pressure shows up, priorities shift fast. You see this everywhere. Someone praises you for years, then disappears the moment you stop being useful to them. That does not always make them a bad person. It makes them human. And Machiavelli believed that smart people should stop being surprised by that. He was not saying the world is hopeless. He was saying that blind trust without observation, creates unnecessary problems. He believed people should pay attention to patterns, not just words. Who shows up during hard moments? Who changes their behavior when power enters the room? Who treats you differently based on what they can gain? Those patterns matter more than what people say. Imagine a colleague you have genuinely helped over the years. You covered for them. You spoke well of them to the right people. The relationship feels solid. Then a promotion opens up. Suddenly the dynamic shifts. Information stops flowing both ways. Small things get pointed out to leadership that paint you in a bad light. The same person who was warm and appreciative is now quietly competing against you. They did not turn into a different person overnight. The stakes just changed, and self-interest became the stronger force. Machiavelli would say, do not be shocked by that. And more importantly, do not wait until you are already in that situation to start paying attention. He also made a point that most people overlook. He was not telling anyone to distrust everyone from the start. He was saying that trust should be earned slowly, through consistent behavior over time, not through words alone, and definitely not through how much you want to believe someone is good. Wanting to believe someone is trustworthy is not the same as having proof they are. He wrote about strategic disclosure too. Completely open, transparent people often get taken advantage of, not because they are weak, but because they share too much too soon. In a perfect world, honesty should always be rewarded. In the actual world,